بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our qiyam and our siyam and our salat. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. By today, inshaAllah ta'ala, every one of us need to feel that there's some changes in his life. Every one of us, with his striving to gain the piety through this fasting and through this blessed month, he need to feel like his tongue is more inclined to do dhikr more than to talk, vain talk. That he's willing to do more Quran than to watch TV. More willing to rush to the masjid than to stay, in other places. So this is the gaining of the piety that we are talking about. And we were talking yesterday about those great people, our role model, that they made it. They made it, they be people who were walking on the earth, already promised Jannah, like Talha ibn Ubaidillah, كان شهيدا يمشي على وجه الأرض. He was a martyr, a shaheed walking on earth. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam قال طلحة ممن قضى نحبه. Talha, he's the one who did everything to get the shahada, but he's still alive. He did everything to get the shahada, but he's still alive. Now, every one of us needs to dream and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about the shahada. Because the shahada is not the image of how you end your life. The shahada is the content of your being when you die. It's not the image. The shahada is not to someone die like fighting. It's not that. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in a hadith, the meaning of it, he said, the majority of the shuhada of my ummah or my followers, they will die on their beds. It's the state of mind, it's the state of heart, that someone will be in a state that he loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ready to give everything for the sake of Allah. Talha ibn Ubaidillah, he was in Suq al-Busra, very far from Mecca, and one monk from his tower, he's calling, if there's anyone from the people of Quraysh, from Ahlul Haram. Talha said, me. He told them, هل خرج فيكم أحمد? If there's anyone among you, he came out, his name Ahmed. He said, who's Ahmed? قال ابن عبد الله ابن عبد المطلب. قال, I don't know. قال, this monk said, this is the time of a prophet that is going to come out in Mecca, his name Ahmed. And he is the last of the prophets. So he was in the area of Sham. Coming back, he went directly to Abu Bakr. He asked him, he said, what's going on? He said, because he heard that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-aminu tanabba, al-aminu, the trustworthy, he said that he's a prophet. So he went to rush to Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala. He told him, what's about this? He told him, yes, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Rasulullah. He accepted Islam and he bear the persecution and the torture in Mecca radiallahu ta'ala. But his name, Al-Fayyad wal-Khayr, he was so generous, radiyallahu ta'ala. But how Talha, he had the Jannah to be his right, to be an obligation for him. It's like the Jannah became something, he's inherit the Jannah while he's here. The Jannah becomes something like it's his, it's guaranteed. It becomes a right for Talha. And if you want to look inside Talha radiallahu ta'ala, what he has is special. He had the love of Allah and the love of His Messenger. But when we say the love of Allah and the love of His Messenger, how much you are ready to give for that? It was the day of Talha. As Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala used to say, it was the day of Uhud. The day of Uhud, it was a very difficult day. The day of Uhud, the believer in the round when they got defeated, because a full chaos happened among the whole army. And the rumor was spread that the Prophet ﷺ was killed. Umar sat down crying. And Khalid ibn Walid, he was mushrik at the time. He came from the back and he attacked them. And the believer, they do not know what to do. Some of them running toward the mountain, others they fighting. Even some believer killing themselves, killing their brother believer. One, Abdullah ibn Rawaha, when he was seeing his father being killed in front of him, saying, "This is my father," but they cannot hear him. So it was full chaos. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alone. Was alone. And the mushrik, when they saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is the only opportunity to kill Islam by killing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إذ تصعدون ولا تلوون على أحد والرسول يدعوكم في أخراكم. You're running and you go on climbing the mountain and you don't even noticing or caring about anyone else because it's a full chaos. It's a full sadness and pain. Being attacked and knowing that your leader, not only simple leader, he is the best of the creation, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was killed. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam by himself attacked by the mushrik. He was around him 9 from Al-Ansar and 2 from Quraysh, among them Talha ibn Ubaidillah. And attacking the Prophet ﷺ with only one intention, to kill him on the spot. And the Prophet had his head wounded, his teeth broken, and he's bleeding and the blood coming over his face and kidney. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Ansar around him, and Talha, he was there. And they were fighting, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال من يدفع عني فإنه رفيقي في الجنة. Whoever who going to push them from me, he will be my companion in Jannah. This is a test. How much do you love the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? The Ansar, they gave in Al-Aqaba, the second Aqaba, they will give their oath to give their life for the Prophet. And they did. All of them died one after the other. And only stayed Talha by himself. The other companion, they don't know anything. It's a big chaos. Talha by himself. He was fighting like 12 men. They were all died around him. Till his hand, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, was paralyzed. And he pushing them, and the Prophet ﷺ cannot even move. And he hold the Prophet ﷺ running with him, and he came by Uhud. If you go today to Uhud, you can see that stone. And the Prophet ﷺ cannot even climb on the stone. So Talha, he came down and he hold and he lifted the Prophet ﷺ. Why he was lifting him? The Prophet ﷺ said, أوجب طلحة. أوجب طلحة. In that moment, he said, the Jannah becomes an obligation for Talha. أوجب طلحة. أوجب طلحة. This word we wanted to sound very strong in our heart, in our being. The love that Talha had for the Prophet, the sacrifice that he gave. Look, the Prophet ﷺ in this condition to disclose for us this great people, to show us this great model, and to tell us that you can win your ticket of forgiveness from today, that you can make it from today. It is about what you choose in your life. What are you going to put your emotion? What are you going to put your ambition? What are you going to put your motivation? Talha poured it in the love of Allah and His Messenger. And he got this great reward, أوجب طلحة. And later on, every time Uhud is mentioned, Abu Bakr, he said, that's the day of Talha, radiallahu ta'ala. That's the day of Talha. It is in this great month. For us to intend a great thing for ourselves, to think big and to target very high. We want all of us to get Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. It's not difficult. It is in your hand. Today in Ramadan, why not? We'll ask, inshallah, Allah in the dua, Ya Allah, give us Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. But we want, from here, from now to that point, we want to strive. Ask, where is your motivation? Where is your ambition? If today the Prophet ﷺ call you to defend him, what will you do? Will you run or you will do like Talha? If you will do like Talha, the Prophet ﷺ will tell you the same thing. أوجب Talha. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be on the path of the greatest, the companion of Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, and help us to be on the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اللهم واغفر لنا ذنوبنا أجمعين وتقبل اللهم قيامنا وصيامنا ودعاءنا وإلى الصلاة يرحمكم الله.